what Andrew had to offer. What did you see in the backup quarterback for Alabama State?
That's just what he is, a backup. We already established that Andrew is going to be the guy, and they last year quarterback entered to portal, so I guess he see what we see. There's no need to try to make it out of something that it's not. I mean, he's a perfect fit. You can't say enough about his enough about how he go about his business. He's a very professional young man, and I just look for big things from him.
Yeah. I mean, I think looking at it, from a distance, not seeing it at practice, we only saw it at spring game. It was clear that, from a size standpoint, and then an execution standpoint, there was a drop off when they went to the backup quarterback. If that's any indication of what it'll be like next year, if they're going to have any chance at winning the SWAC championship, Andrew's going to have to stay healthy.
Oh, without a doubt. And the backup guy was a backup guy last year. So, he really, is learning a new offense as well. So maybe that was some of the things that he might have stumbled on. But, I think Body is a quarterback. He's an athlete. He's a running back. I mean, he the total package. And they got some wide receivers that can get after it. They threw two deep bombs on the money. So I just seen a lot of good things, man, that made me real excited about watching them this year.
Yeah, I we have a question about the O-line. What I saw with the starting O-line, I saw some big guys, some good sized guys that did really well. I must say, when the backup, now I don't know the roster was not broke up in too deep, and so we don't know who was actually playing. But one of the offensive units, I thought the line was a little undersized once they brought the backup quarterback in. And so, that's always a concern if you have to go to your backups, where they are, how much drop off are you going to have in the offensive line? Because one thing we do know about football, every team is going to have some injuries. And when you have to go to your backup guys, what do you have there? And sometimes you don't find that out until you put them on the field.
But guys, this is the spring. Their recruits are not even in yet. So I'm pretty sure they got some O-line that's coming in, some D linemen coming in. And they look sharp. They look sharp offensively. Defensively, one thing on the defensive side of ball, you just want to make sure people know how to line up. And they hadn't even brought the recruits in, so I'm looking forward to them doing some great things, man.
Yeah, Coach. Is there any other observations, Mr. Campbell, that you had from the game?
Well, again, I just think with the spring game, it is what it is. You're not going to see a lot. Coach wanted to get people out there healthy. And Coach looks like one of people in the chat said the backup one. He just enrolled in January. So even to your point, he's really learning. So, right. So again, that's just your point. So I think again, everybody, it's spring. You can only read into it. But what I'm more wanting to see, again, Coach asked that, is they got a new coaching staff. How did he feel about how that was going? Because the players are only going to go from the direction from the coaches, right? They set the tone. And if they're organized, then the players will be organized. If the coaches are not organized, then the players are not going to be organized. So, for me, I looked at more of, and that's the reason I kept asking about the coaches. Were the coaches ready to go? And things like I said, just looking at the staff and looking at how well they were engaged, that's why I'm excited about to see what Alabama State does.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, look, we seen it. We was there. We're pretty pleased. And, like I said, I look forward to seeing the Hornets this year. I think Coach Robinson has grown as a head football coach. One thing about it, you could change players, you could change coaches, as long as you don't change the head coach, because he's got a systematic way that he does things. When a coach or head coach come in, it's a systematic way. So you're always getting changes. but as long as you stand with your system. And that's why I seen the system, his system is working because of all those players that he continue to have, and surely in the spring on the off season. So the program is growing.
Coach, you bring up a very good point, Coach. That this is it. He didn't come from the assistant coach ranks. He came from industry and went right in as a head coach. How hard is that? I know you were in the coaching ranks, but have you ever seen a guy do it coming straight off the street into coaching the way that Coach Robinson has done it, and have they been as successful as Coach Robinson has done up to this point?
Well, I mean, Caucasian coaches do it all the time. They don't play the game. They don't play the game. They read books and play Madden, and and they do it all the time. And the thing about it is that when he took over Alabama State ain't never been just a slouch at the bottom program. You know what I mean? They was good for a coach like him to come in and learn, on the fly. But my man just read all the stats off. 2-time defensive player of the year, 2-time academia All-American, and All-American, and then played in the NFL. So he ain't no slouch to football. You know what I mean? It's just that we, as African Americans, we don't get them opportunities. We got to come ready-made. And especially on these other levels, we got to come ready-made. And we hard on ourselves, But the opposite, the white guys, they get to come in and learn on the job. You know what I'm saying? So Eddie got a chance to grow with the program. It happened to be his alma mater, so I'm not surprised. Eddie Robinson is a super guy, and he's a very intelligent man.
Mr. Campbell, have you seen anything like it in your time in the Sweat?
Well, I was thinking, and then I was thinking about what Coach Robinson was talking about. Coach Markham, who was on W.C. Gordon's staff, which was amazing staff, the coaches that came out of that staff. And Coach Cole, most of our coaches, again, came through the ranks, worked their way up, had to pay their dues, didn't have the nepotism where, hey, he's my friend, he's my cousin, he's my brother. So we've had consistently where guys had to work their way up. I think Coach Robinson he got that position because of the quality of man he is. That has a lot to do with it. You can talk to him and you can look at Coach Robinson and say, hey, this guy is a leader, no matter what he does or anything in life. So again, the guy is a football player. He knows football. He's always known football. Like I say, and don't forget, like I said, that's the reason why I wanted to point out, Eddie Robinson is one of the smartest players in SWAC history. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about as far as winning academic awards. So this was nothing for him to say, you know what, let me come in, let me stabilize the program. Also, I'm going to be a good face for the program. You know what I mean? And that's what he's a really good face for the program. I mean, he can help raise money. He can bring enthusiasm because the rest of it, again, like Coach, no, because Coach Robinson, he's a CEO coach. He's a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. He's a CEO coach. So that means he's got to make good choices on who his offensive coordinator is, who his defensive coordinator is, and make sure that the players are all marching in the same direction.
And Coach, I want to ask you this here, Coach Cole. Do you think Eddie Robinson gets that chance at Alabama State because of the success that Deion had at Jackson State?
In his case, no. His case was more of a what you know and who you know. He went to school with the president. Let's not make any secret. Like I said, we like to talk about facts. Eddie Robinson was also an analyst. He would come and interview you. He'd interview me. He's hosted some of my games. So I'm pretty sure the talk was there. You know what I'm saying? Did Deion being there played a little role in? Yes. Because at the time, once Deion came in, then all of a sudden, everybody started running out looking for NFL football. So, yeah, it played a role in it, but I didn't think it was some that was brewing and some that was growing from when they chose this president, who's the president now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's some inside. So that's some inside stuff. Not saying he wasn't qualified to take the job, but he sure didn't have all the qualifications that a whole bunch of other people have. He kind of sort of jumped the line as well.
And let me ask you this, Coach: when you jump the line as a coach, does that put pressure on you as a coach?
Shoot, you, the AD, the president, everybody. You know what I mean? You really, you're going ahead of everything. You know what I mean? You're going against the grain. So, oh yeah, most definitely making that move put a lot of pressure on a lot of people. But he's been able to do the right thing and moving the program. Now, you know, this year, you know, I've been talking about them maybe winning the East. You know, if he come and stink it up, I mean, hey, you know, that will definitely be brought up that he was given a job without earning it. So, hey, what is the thing? What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. Well, I was just that's one of the questions I had. You know, one of the things I was wondering is, one, had he, you know, his situation was similar to Deion's in the sense that they were NFL players, didn't coach in the SWAC as assistants, and then they were hired as head coaches at, you know, HBCUs. I don't, you know, to be perfectly honest with you, that, you know, Deion had tremendous success right out the bat. The other two coaches that were given opportunities similar to Deion is Eddie Robinson and then Eddie George. Eddie George hadn't had a tremendous amount of success as a coach, right? I believe he's helped the university out some regarding raising their profile and maybe even help them with raising money.
Right.
But Eddie Robinson, for the most part, I think he's going to be judged, you know, by his success on the field. And up to this point, he's had a gradual ascension. I want to say he went 6-5 his first year, and he went 7-4 last year. So, as Mr. Campbell has mentioned, this could be the year for Alabama State to get over the hump and possibly win the East and vie for a SWAC championship. My only question, you know, one of the things that I look at is, you made a great point, Mr. Campbell, is that the other teams who have won the SWAC in the last 3 years, they were settled at quarterback. They were settled. They had some things settled that now Alabama State didn't come out of their season with them settled already. They had a question at quarterback. They were losing a all-conference. Some felt like defensive MVP. Like, they have some questions coming out of that, and but that target is going to be put on their back anyway. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is, I understand how they can have those expectations, but I think Coach Robinson, you know, would it be fair to say that he should have a better season than the previous year, having those questions coming out of last year?
Well, that's the thing. I think he's building the program. See, this goes back to what I talked about. He's in year 3. This is where you start seeing the fruits of your labor. Everybody knows how he runs things. He's got his people in place. He has players that's been with him now for 3 years. It's not like the whole team is transfers, okay? So he's got a good group that has been around. They're juniors now. They should be leaders that are going to be able to set the table for that team. And again, it goes back to my point again. If you want to be a champion, it starts before the football season starts. It starts way back in the spring. It starts when these guys in the weight room where they're only the strength and conditioning coach, and the strength and conditioning coach is not even there. So these are things to be a championship squad. So those are things that, again, what Alabama State is going to have to put together. You got Andrews coming in. Andrew is a natural born leader. That is very obvious. But again, he's new at Alabama State. So he's got to learn his players, his teammates and things like that. So again, when you look at everybody else, Jackson State is going to be tough. FAMU is going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. So, you know, again, it's not going to be where you see, like the last couple of years, it was Jackson State, then FAMU. Then it was last year, it was FAMU. Now you're talking about 3 teams that, depending on who you like and what you like, all of them can say, we got the best team in the East. That's a fact. So there's no head and shoulders team that is in the East that say, you look at that guy and that team, FAMU is that much better than Jackson State, or Jackson State is that much better than Alabama State. So that's what's going to be interesting now as we go into the spring. And to what coaches say, you got to understand something. You're going to see a flood of players that all of a sudden that are going to come to Alabama State, Jackson State, FAMU, because that portal is wide open. And these kids are not getting the offer that they think they get. And I'm talking about high-level kids that jumped in that portal. So there's going to be some opportunity to even upgrade in the portal for all these teams. So you're going to be seeing guys like, oh, wait a minute. Like I said, FAMU just signed a guy from Pitt today. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. So, again, these coaches are working that portal. So, to Coach's point, it's a lot of things that have not even been settled yet as far as the roster.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too, guys. Eddie's been in his program for 2 years, going on 3. Cozy is starting off his program. TC Taylor over there is just 1 year in. So, you know, you got one program is 2 years ahead of the next program. So all that's gonna play in a part of where we go and how we go and who gonna win and who not gonna win.
You know, Coach Cole, we've talked about the turnover in amongst the coaching ranks extensively on this channel. With that being said, Coach, off the top of your head, where does Coach Rob rank amongst the coaches that are in the SWAC right now?
And as talent wise?
No, I'm talking about no. Take the players aside. Aside. Where does he rank as a coach of the coaches that are in the SWAC right now?
I think he's one up there with some of the best of them. Because when you really look at him, you got a new coach at Alcorn. He was at Pine Bluff for 1 or 2 years, didn't do well. But now he's the head coach at Alcorn. You got TC Taylor, got his first job. All right. You got coach at Texas Southern, his first job. And you look at his background, it doesn't look strong. You got the Pine Bluff guy who was a tight end coach from Monroe, which was the worst Division I-A school in the country last year. He's got his first thing. He didn't do much this year. All right. Bethune-Cookman, new coach. So you had to put Eddie up in the top. You got Mickey Joseph, you know, that comes with some experience. You know, he was an interim at Nebraska, head coach at Langston. You know, he's been in the SWAC. So you look at some good things from him. But, you know, you got to say Eddie is one of the top better coaches there just by default.
and that's what I was kind of getting at.
Oh, you setting me up. Oh, you were all on there. Hey, Cole, well, they already do that, Coach.
No. What I'm saying, Coach Cole, I want to say, and you, our logic kind of lined up. What I'm saying is, by default, he is the most accomplished returning. I would say him and TC Taylor are the 2 most accomplished returning coaches in the SWAC.
Wait a minute. I got to put a dead stop on that. Please do not forget Bubba McDowell, who actually has won conference championship.
You're right.
I mean, division championship. Right. So let's pump the brakes on that.
On the East, can we put that on the East?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because like I said, we kind of leave him, and we got to give Coach McDowell credit. So on that, but go ahead.
And speaking of that, guys, I put a media pass request in to PV today, and hopefully they'll reply, and I'll go down there and cover that game and be able to give you guys some input on what's going on down there at on the hill, as they say in Prairie View.
Let me apologize to Bubba. I mean, but Bubba's another one though, Campbell. I mean, he's been around. He coached the defensive backs, but he been three years in Prairie View and 2 West championships?
Yeah.
Now let's look at that on his face, though.
No, he's only coached 2 years.
2 years, yeah, 2 years. And he's won one, right?
So he go to the championship once, right?
Yep.
And I think that was in his first year.
No, he went the second year.
Second year, last year, this past year.
Look what happened that second year. Remember we talked about that? How Texas Southern, first it was Southern should have won. They lost it, gave it to Texas Southern. Texas Southern lost it. It fell in Prairie View's lap.
Well, no, that wasn't the year.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Prairie View. Yeah, that was 2 years ago when that was 2 years. Southern ended up going to the championship.
Yeah,
that was 2 years ago.
But to your point, they could have beat if they had beat Mississippi Valley. They would have played in the SWAC championship rather than Southern. So you got a point. They got beat by Mississippi Valley the last game of the season to get eliminated from contention.
Right. So one would say, I'm in contention to win the SWAC championship. I go play the worst team, perennial worst team in the history of the conference, and I lose. That's not a good sign for a head coach, because now you're saying that you didn't prepare your team. But you can't take nothing away from winning. And Bubba should be mentioned, but I wouldn't say that he's in the top.
Well, let me give. You know what? I think we're doing a disservice because we're making a judgment on something that we need to. We do realize. Let's talk about this for a second. Other than Carnell Maynard and Coach McDowell, every other team in the SWAC has transitioned their coach in the last 2 years. Every team. Think about that for a second. Every team on the east and west side have transitioned their coach.
Really, so, every team except for A&M.
Yeah. So for us to start saying who's this and who's that, none of these guys have even a long track record to even have a realistic conversation, because there's not a resume long enough to even sit back and say this guy's this. So by default, Coach Robinson, who's been there 3 years and he has his team trending upwards, then yes, you can see, because you can see his team trending upward. That is the thing, what you see. So again, that's the only reason why I kind of, it's not like when you're seeing with the SEC and they've got guys that have been there, or, in the Big Ten, or guys have kind of been there, you can kind of look at their resume. The SWAC has just had, and which is sad, the amount of turnover in the coaches is ridiculous over the last 2 years.
Well, Mr. Campbell, the question was asked, where did I see Eddie was at? If you come September and you're not ready to play, you can't, I ain't one of the ones that say, oh, well, this is just my first year, or this is my second year. The object of being in that position is to win football games and to win championships, But I get it, what you're saying. I mean, it makes sense, but when the question was asked, you had to take what you have. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I understand, but I just want to just kind of give the audience some depth to that. Yeah.
Yeah, take lemon and make lemonade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was, and of course, Coach Banner would be the grandfather of the league,
which is amazing when you say that. It's just utterly amazing.
And I always gonna say this: in the last 23 years, all the coaches who won the conference is on the shelf, and very few of them are even coaching in the SWAC. And you're right, it should never be a turnover like that. It hurts the league, it hurts young coaches, it hurts players that want to come out and go places when you get that much turnover in coaches. Is Rocky out? Coach Campbell.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a phone call that came in, Coach. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Rocky.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm here, Coach.
But Coach, what's funny? But that kind of jumps back to, again, the golden era. When you're talking about, again, the continuity of coaches, Eddie Robinson, Marino Castle, W.C. Gordon, Archie Cooley, You know what I mean? The consistency that was all across the conference that you saw, that with these giant figures that you could look at and say, hey, you know what? When you looked at that matchup, you knew that coach was going to be across the sideline from the team that you rooted for. So again, I'm hoping that as these coaches, like I said, again, I just would like to see these ADs allow these coaches a little bit of growth, allow them to build their programs, and then, see what's going on. Because I just think this, switching coaches out every 2 years, I just don't think you're ever going to build a championship program doing that.
Let me ask you this, guys, because I can't remember off the top of my head, but has the AD turnover mirrored the coaching turnover?
The 1980s?
No. I said the AD turnover, because I know we've had some.
Oh, the athletic director turnover.
Yes. The athletic director turnover, has it mirrored the coaching turnover? Meaning it
not as bad as the coaches, because Southern's AD's been there.
You got a new AD at Valley. He been there 1 year.
New at FAMU.
Coach. New at Prairie View. And coach, I think that's it.
Yeah.
What about Pine Bluff, Grambling?
Same.
But Travion Scott's been there. He's been there a couple of years.
Grambling's been there.
Yeah.
Alcorn's been there. No, Alcorn got a new one. They got a new one. But that's about it.
Yeah, so it hasn't. So the coaching turnover hasn't mirrored the.
No, I don't think that yet. I think that I don't think there's any correlation to that. I think the correlation is the arms race of this quick fix of seeing somebody like Dion just come in, which you can't even measure what that was like, and expecting a team, especially when you don't even have the infrastructure ready to go, and turning a guy off. So again, I think you just got to let these coaches get their time, put in a program. Nobody's going to come in, and that's what I'm saying. It's just not realistic for a coach to come in and win 10 games right off the rip. I mean, that's just not. That's why actually it was going to be funny. I mean, that's the pressure that Coach Coles is going to be under. That's the pressure he's under, because they expect him to keep that train on track. But again, you got to allow these coaches to grow, and that's my biggest thing: is allow these coaches to grow, allow these coaches to make mistakes, allow these coaches to recruit players, and then see what happens. But you can't, like I said, you fire a guy after 2-3 years. I mean, you're just not, to me, I don't think you're going to get value out of that.
As we talk about this and the coaching turnover ad nauseum, ultimately, I think, in FAMU's case, they got it right. I think they got it right. When you talk about, let's talk about two other schools that had coaching turnovers in the same hiring cycle, which is Southern and Grambling, right? And the season, the season will play itself out, and we'll understand. But it seems to me that they went, especially Southern, rather than getting the best qualified coach, they went with the default choice. And in that situation, I see them in a couple years hiring another coach. And so,
yeah.
And when ADs are making those decisions, how can you not end up changing coaches out year after year after year?
Well, Southern AD said it. I mean, which he said, we don't have the money. He said it. He said, we don't have the money. And again, when you say that, again, this is just my soapbox. When you have a school like Southern that has the fan base like they do, that has the recruiting area like they do, be very clear. The fertile recruiting area that Southern sits at, and then you say, well, we just don't have the money, we're just going to take the guy that we can afford. I think you're not doing a service to your university and to the football program. And I think it's going to show in wins and losses. So like I said, again, I don't think Southern's going to win over 4 games. And I think that's what's going to happen, because they did not say, you know what, we're going to dig deep. We're going to find out, because again, Southern should always be good. Just because they're sitting down there with all that talent in Louisiana, they should always be good, not being funny. So, they just haven't. So
I've
yeah.
heard you use the term in other coaching appointments or hires as a lazy hire. Would you know? With all due respect to Coach Graves, would you categorize that hire from a AD standpoint as a lazy hire?
I would, and because if I'm gonna get rid of the head coach of a losing program, why would I turn in hard assistant coach? It just looked dirt. It got dirt all over it. Was the assistant coach saying something to the AD about the head coach? What is it? We wasn't winning. What is it? And then the guy wasn't even a coordinator. He was just assistant coach. And I hate to say that. I mean, how many times did that happen? That's a lifetime hire right there. You know. And then my thing is, I'm looking at the AD. You brought this guy in, and you're not gonna fight for this guy to stay around. Then I need to get rid of you and the head coach because you made a big major mistake. So to me it just all of it. It looks, to me the only thing that can turn that black eye, put a big ribeye steak over it, is that they win this year. If they don't win, that AD needs to be going, and of course the coach need and clean house. At Southern is a winning program. Pete Richardson left that program in great shape. We need to go out and hire some qualified guys that got some qualified experience, at least at the head coaching position. Where am I at? Southern is not a losing program, so I don't need a coach that have taken 0-10 teams and turn them around. I need a guy to take them where they are and move forward. So I need a guy that's a winner. So you can break each place down and say whether it was a good hire or not a good hire.
Yeah, Coach. I just when we first and I must say I was on board with Scotty when he identified Coach Robinson as a brotherly hire. You know what I mean?
It was.
But again, Coach, after evaluating Coach Robinson, sitting down, listening to him, listening what his pedigree is, not only as a student, a player, and now coach, I think Coach Robinson has kind of justified the hire up to this point.
But
right?
Coach, you said now as a coach. He wasn't a coach. He's never coached anything. But he's a diamond in the rough. He's one that it just don't happen every day. But did he have the pedigree as far as everything else as a CEO? And I take that from you. Yes. And he's intelligent, and he was smart enough to do what he needs to do. Look, they hit it. They hit the Grand Slam, Coach. They hit it. Now he ain't won the championship yet, but they hit a home run.
Hey, we're gonna go ahead and take a couple callers tonight before we quit. We're gonna give you guys a few minutes to call in if you want to call in. We got a lot of chatter going on in the chat, and Coach Green says it was not a lazy hire. But I want to say you can give us a call at 518-351-9464. Please call in and explain to us why it wasn't a lazy hire.
Coach Green was saying, in Dooley we trust. So how much do we even want to hear what Coach Green is about to say about that? But all I heard was Dooley.
Coach Green.
He's a Southern alumnus who coaches at Russ, and all I'm going to say is that Southern did not beat Jackson State, they did not beat FAMU, and they did not win any significant game in those 2 years that Dooley was there. They
lost to Texas Southern.
So stop it. Tell it to people.
And let me make sure, because we again, we like to build people up. Terrence Graves does have background, is qualified. This ain't about Terrence Graves. This is about the process. I guess we all three agree it wasn't a good process how he was given the job.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I just think when you look at the coaches, Eddie Robinson, a T.C. Taylor, a James Colsey, and I'm just going to use those three guys. Energetic guys, forward-facing looking guys, able to relate to players. And just Coach Graves, and again, I have not played for Coach Graves, but I'm just talking about when you just look at it. When I saw that coach iron, I was not excited. And that's what I'm talking about. When you go,
and I just want to make sure we understand, this is not against Coach Graves.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not an attack on him. Hell,
No.
Anybody would take a job.
Yeah, not at all. But what I'm saying is when I heard a name like Trey Oliver, you know what I mean? That potentially, because we're moving into a new era. And I think people have to understand that with social media, with NIL, with communicating, because this is not the my way or the highway coaching system anymore. You got to deal with a lot more outside noise that coach you had to deal with, and God knows with W.C. Gordon and those guys. So my thing is, so you really got to have people that, just like what Coach Robinson did. He came on here, he was phenomenal. I was Coach T.C. Taylor. He's been interviewed. He's phenomenal. These guys can communicate, and you can say, you know what, I want my son to go play for that guy. And that's all I'm saying with Southern, with all the things that Southern comes with. It looks like you can get the guy that has what a coach now in this era should be. And that's, like I say, that's just more of an opinion. This has nothing against, like I said, Coach Gray has tremendous coaching experience. So again, I'm not talking about that, but I'm just talking about the excitement that I think that Southern would need for them to be a championship caliber team.
All right, we have Coach Green on the line. Coach Green, thank you for calling in on the HBCU Coaches Corner. I think this your first time, huh, Coach? This your first time, ain't it?
Hey, yeah, this is my first time calling on your show, man. It is.
All right, Coach.
How y'all guys doing?
We doing good, Coach. Now again, I brought it up because I've heard the term lazy hire used in other coaching hires, even in other sports, by Coach Campbell, by Mr. Campbell, right? And I brought it up to ask the question: was this a lazy hire by the Southern AD, Roman Banks? And Coach Coach Cole stepped up and said, without a doubt, it's a lazy hire. Now, tell me, why do you think it was not a lazy hire?
I wouldn't call it a lazy hire, for one, because a lazy hire will be what Texas Southern did.
Wow.
After all that situation. This wasn't a lazy hire because Coach Gray's background. I wouldn't call it a lazy hire because of his background, because of his coaching pedigree, and the years he put in. That's my thing to it. I would say, it wasn't an exciting hire, and it wasn't a hire that gets you excited, but it's a lot to be said. It's a wait and see approach with him. As far as with the fan base.
Let me ask you this, Coach Green, because I'm about to give Southern some flowers. With the fan base and support that university has, right? Do they deserve, when they change coaches, to just choose the guy who was already an assistant coach on an already losing program?
Look, the only thing I'm gonna say is let's just see what happens, because this is a guy that been in the coaching ranks for years and waiting for his opportunity. His only opportunity came through being on the interim. And when he became, every time he been an interim, he has won.
One game, Coach Green. This Coach Cole. So, how you doing?
No. Look, we get it as one game. But he always been a winner with that one game. So now let's see what he do with the whole season.
Coach Green.
You got to understand with the Dooley situation. It's the people with the money that wanted him gone. So they put up the money to get him up out of there.
Coach Green. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
a guy coached 2 games and he win the game, and you saying that's what kind of took him over? Ain't no question. This ain't about.
No, I'm just saying. You know, I ain't saying that.
Make sure we understand, because I think you get more into the, I know, and he been waiting on this position. We're talking about one of the, as Coach Campbell would say, one of the bluegrass programs of the SWAC, or Rocky says that all the time.
The blue blood, one of the blue blood.
This is Southern University. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did that hire make us feel like, man, we ready to rock and roll? No, it didn't. Not only was he was not in a coordinator's position, he was just a position coach. I get it. It came down to a money thing. But once again, like I told Campbell and Rocky, when Simmons left Florida A&M for greener pastures and $500,000, I said, well, did any of y'all alumni or AD say, I tell you what, Simmons, we want you here so bad, we're going to give you a 10-year deal, at $400,000, and we're going to add on. So what I'm saying is, they could have went out and got a bigger time coach, worked out a deal for him. So not only does did we get a good guy in there, it excites the alumni. That hire did not excite the alumni. That's what I'm saying. That hire is you cannot raise money and say we got a new coach in, we need this kind of money. They ain't gonna give it to Terrence. He's gonna have to prove it. Now, I'm like like we said about Eddie tonight. Hey, Alabama State took a chance. Bam, he stood in there. He knocked one over the wall. They knocked one on the wall with a good guy. Terrence got that opportunity. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Look.
Okay.
As you saying, what Coach Graves didn't deserve it.
No. That's not what he said.
No,
that's not what he said. That's not what he said. He didn't say that about Coach.
I know what he meant. I know what he meant, but that ain't how I mean it. But I'm just saying, he's basically in the same shoes as Eddie Robinson. That's all I'm saying. He's basically in the same shoes as Eddie Robinson. Because Eddie Robinson really was no exciting hire. Just like Graves ain't no exciting hire.
Look, hey, with Eddie Robinson,
you gotta see what they do. Because what?
I wasn't for Eddie Robinson getting hard. I mean, I would say I wasn't for him or was against him, but I thought it was a whole bunch of other more qualified people out there. But I knew the inside of that Alabama State deal. He was alumni and all that. And he was a 2-time All-American, academic. Yeah, that was the deal.
And
Southern didn't have a deal with Terrence Graves.
So,
he ain't no alumnus of that school. Even though he was on Pete Richardson's staff.
Nah.
I know that whole deal.
And let's say this, and I'm gonna say this, right? And this may sound kind of high-minded, but with the success and pedigree of Coach Eddie Robinson, I believe there are some aspects of him, he didn't have to come to the SWAC as an assistant coach or coordinator. His pedigree said that I operate at such an elite level, at such a high level of success in my personal and business life. If I'm going to come be a SWAC coach, I got to be the head man. And I think after talking to him, understanding his pedigree, understanding his accomplishments, I can see how that could be the situation with Coach Robinson, that he wasn't going to come to the SWAC or he wasn't going to be a coach unless he was going to be the head man based on his success and his pedigree.
But and then also, this is the other thing y'all should look at it like this. On the one side of the ball was actually more consistent. The issue was on the offensive side with Southern. It wasn't the defensive side. Everything was on, and it wasn't the special teams. Everything was offense. So now let's see what they do since they change one side of the ball, because On the offensive side, only one person controlled everything offensively, and that was Dooley. He controlled what be played, he controlled if they're going to pass or if they're going to run, and what quarterback going to play. He only wanted one particular quarterback. He didn't want to give nobody else a try, no matter how bad it was looking.
Right.
Well, let me ask a quick question, and this is more
defense. Let's see what's going to happen.
Well, Coach. All right, Coach Green. Let me ask you this question, and this is because again, you're a Southern guy. You know Southern. I try to follow Southern. I'm not a Southern guy, but I'm going to give you the outside looking in. Okay, when I'm watching, and I'm talking about energy, and I'm looking, Jackson State just signed a guy from Cincinnati. FAMU signing a guy from Pitt. Coach Robinson is getting an all-SWAC linebacker to come from UAPB to come to Alabama State. He gets Andrew Body to come to Alabama State. FAMU gets an all-SWAC linebacker from Valley to come. I don't see the portal being worked for Southern. And what my thing is where is the energy on the recruiting side? That's what I guess my point of it is having dynamic coaches who can go in the portal, sell their squad, sell their school, and have players to come in. Because I'm going to keep saying this again. You guys are right there. Literally what FAMU was doing, you got any guy that at LSU is not playing should be over there Southern. Seriously. And I don't see that energy. And again, we're all following the same recruiting channels. We're all looking, and I never see Southern sign X, Southern sign X, Southern sign X. But I see Jackson State, I see FAMU, I see Alabama State, I see Bethune-Cookman. So that's what I guess my question is, where is that recruiting energy that you all need? Because no matter what you're saying, offensive, defense, you guys did not beat a winning team. You guys didn't beat anybody. So what are you going to do to take that next step? That requires to have better players. So that's my question.
So, and this is the thing, as a coach, we all, as Coach Cole knows, nobody knows what's going to happen until the game start playing. Only people that know what's going on is the people that's inside that building with the football team. The coaches know what they got on the field. And as far as recruiting, after the spring game, that portal going to be jumping. Because right now it's jumping on the basketball side. That portal going to be jumping. I know we in the portal. We trying to hit some people in the portal as far as basketball. But as far as that portal, there's going to be some people that are going to be signed after the spring break, after the spring game. Because spring game coming up, and then they're going to start jumping after that.
Hey, Coach Green, I want to ask you a quick question before we let you go, because this is a question I've been dying to ask a Southern Knight. Dying to ask them. If we roll back time and you guys have fired Dooley, right? And your guys are going through the hiring process and you have Fred McNair available or Terrence Graves available, who would you have chosen as your head coach?
We had an opportunity, probably Fred McNair.
Okay, that's what I thought. Well, good thing about it, Coach, you guys do have Fred McNair. He's not the head coach, but he is on your coaching staff. Yeah.
I got you.
Hey, that's a hell of a staff too.
Coach, I just want to say one thing, and I hear that, but I just think what a lot of these teams have done, like case in point, you said, well, I'm going to get players late in the portal, but you've already lost a whole spring. And that's why a lot of these teams were trying to get guys in so they can play spring ball. So again, I want to see what Southern does. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've always said this. We need Southern to be good. We need Grambling to be good. We need Jack State to be good. We need Alabama State to be good. We need FAMU to be good. Because again, you want to have these compelling matchups every week. That's what the SWAC is about. That's what I grew up with, and that's what I want to see. And I want to see a good Southern football team.
But as far as during signing day, we signed a nice class, a solid class. The class is solid that we signed.
Okay. So, I guess.
But in this,
most of them guys ain't gonna be there until after the spring game.
But in this era of the transfer portal, how much can you count on incoming freshmen or high school guys to determine the outcome of your season?
Like I said, we right here, all of us on the outside, we ain't gonna know. The only people gonna know is the people, and Coach Cole know this. Coach Cole knows this since he coached the game. everybody gonna have an opinion, but nobody knows what's actually gonna happen until the coaches say what's gonna happen, and until the games actually start being played. Because the coaches and players gonna know what's gonna happen. Until then, we're gonna have to wait and see what's gonna actually happen.
Well, ain't no question. At the end of the day, somebody's gonna have to win, you know. And like we talked about all the coaches, you know, we got a bunch of coaches in our conferences don't have a lot of experience as head coach. You know, Bubba was a DB coach, Eddie was out of coaching, Terrence got some coordinator experience. The guy up at Pine Bluff had no head coaching experience. I don't even think he had coordinator experience. Maynard was the only one that actually was coming from a head coaching job. Mickey Joseph was an interim, you know, and he don't have no coordinator, but he was a head coach in Langston, you know, so he had some experience. Cozy, was he an offensive coordinator?
He was defensive back coach.
He was a head coach in Canada.
Yeah, head coach in Canada. Yep, and he was defensive back coach for FAMU. Yep.
Okay, well there you go. You know what I'm saying? The guy down at Mississippi Valley State, he was a wide receiver coach at Delta State, so he comes in with no experience. The guy at Alcorn, which I think is real good, he had head coaching experience as well as some coordinating experience. So, you know, none of them didn't come with a wealth, but enough. So we'll see.
All right, thank you, Coach Green, for calling, man. We appreciate you calling in, man. I just wanted to get your input on why you didn't think that was a lazy hire, and you explained yourself well. Thank you very much for calling in.
Will Davis, he had tremendous energy. He was hollering out, "Dooley, we trust," all the way through as that ship was sinking. So yeah, he did have energy. He had a lot of energy.
hey, when he was our coach, it was Dooley, we trust. Now it's all about digging graves for everybody else.
Graves is good.
Hey, Coach, don't you get Coach Graves chasing me around now. You know, and that was about it. Was about the process. And hey, we all entitled to our opinions. But like you say, when the ball is kicked off, hey, he on the clock.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Hey, when is the spring? When is the spring game, Coach Cole? I mean, Coach Green. When is the Southern spring game?
It's supposed to be April 13th.
Oh, okay. All right. I look forward to you giving. Maybe are you gonna go to the spring game?
Nah, man. I'm in Holly Springs, Mississippi, trying to recruit for basketball. Man.
Okay.
And I also coaching tennis too.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we in our recruiting thing, so I ain't gonna have time to go down to Baton Rouge.
One time for Russ College.
Absolutely. Hey, well, thanks again.
Oh yeah.
Thanks again, Coach Green. Hey, that was Coach Green giving us a call, man. But hey, we've reached that time of the show, guys, man. This was a great show. This was a great show, man. And we've had a great week, guys. So with that being said, Coach Cole, can you take us out?
Man, I can take you out. I just want to give a shout out to my my elementary school team coach. You know, these kids hadn't played no ball. They don't play recreation at all. And we had one practice, man. And I put the zone together in a 1-4 offense. And, man, those kids played great, man. I just, you know, I don't know, man. I think when I think of my coach career, you know, my best times, man, has been working with kids, man. And, man, I'm just so excited and just can't wait to see them tomorrow, you know, and, you know, give them a hug and you know, and go from there. I'll be headed to Ohio.
Wilkes with what you need to know. Today, it's Monday, April 15th, 2024. Number 1, the country of Iran launched a massive attack on Israel over the weekend, firing more than 300 projectiles according to the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF. This included 30 cruise missiles, over 150 drones, and over 100 ballistic missiles. In a statement released by Iran, authorities referred to the act as self-defense, adding the attack is in retaliation for the April 1st IDF strike on an Iranian consulate building in Syria. 12 people were killed in that attack, including 7 high-ranking members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Number 2, history will be made Monday, the scheduled first day of a trial that the first former president of the United States will stand in a criminal case. Donald Trump is charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to hide hush money payments that he made to cover up extramarital affairs ahead of and after the 2016 presidential election. In announcing the Trump indictment, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg stated the crime was that Donald Trump broke election laws by scheming to cover up payments. It will be up to the DA's office to prove this allegation. Number 3, turning 65 is a time of adjustments and decisions. One critical decision is signing up for Medicare coverage for healthcare and choosing what's suitable for you. Medicare enrollment is not optional or automatic. You must sign up, even if you're not retiring until you're 66 or older. You can enroll 3 months before your birthday or up to 3 months after, but there are financial penalties if you don't sign up on time. Read more about Medicare in today's newsletter. Number 4, Dexter Reed Jr., a 26-year-old black man, was shot and killed by Chicago police at a traffic stop on March 21st. Authorities claim that Mr. Reed fired first. Released body camera footage showed several officers returning a total of 96 gunshots in 41 seconds. A police officer was also shot. The Civilian Office of Police Accountability is investigating the shooting and believes that there are many unknown factors involving the officer's conduct, including why Chicago police stopped Mr. Reed in the first place and why a tactical team conducted the traffic stop for a seatbelt violation. Number 5, what does the armor of God mean? It represents the defense we must take in our spiritual lives to ward off the attacks of Satan, the devil, or the enemy. Ephesians 6:12 reads, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." There are 7 parts to the non-tangible armor of God. Read more about it. It's Ministry Monday in today's newsletter. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Being consistent builds trust as it shows you're reliable and your words match your actions. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with our social justice contributor, Coy Malone, and my friends comedians Dominique and Alicia Cooper as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
My name is Ben McGuire, and I won $500 on the lunch money for keeping up with the Jonas Bracket Challenge.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.